Hello, everybody. How y'all doing today? My name is Nicholas. Having a little garage experiment with a prototype I'm working on here. Should be pretty interesting. Stay tuned. And I think this could be a important message. So I'm not asking you to share this video with people with a common interest because I'm looking for this video to go viral or anything. Uh, I am doing this video as a little bit of an experimental kind of demonstration to support the Second Amendment. I strongly believe in the Second Amendment. I've been a gun owner my entire life, and I never feel safe without a gun. I enjoy going in the wilderness, camping, and have a ranch in New Mexico that I'm planning on going here to soon. And it's very remote out there, and I just do not feel safe without a gun. And a lot of people don't understand what kind of dangerous situation you are in if you are in remote locations in the middle of nowhere, unprotected. So the government crackdown on firearms lately has had me concerned. I've experienced some bizarre phenomenon happening with the district attorney before in my life, and I totally understand how it is completely driven by the motive of taking away firearms. And uh, well, the recent turn of events lately has ma- has made me reconsider what I'm doing with this project here, because I believe that there are far worse weapons out there than any gun. For example, recently in the news, you might have heard of laboratories making experimental biological weapons that have a 90% kill ratio with humans and such. That is horrible. That is like Hitler uh, concentration camp sort of level sort of stuff there. And I don't like that at all. So, there are biological weapons out there. There are hadron colliders and super lasers and smart bombs and electromagnetic rail guns and hypersonic rockets, nuclear bombs and Terminator robots and heat-seeking killer drones. I hate heat-seeking killer drones, and that is a very bad idea, and you should not be doing that as long with the biological warfare as well. So, this is a weapon. I hope it will be used as a tool, maybe in the future. I would, and so this is a effective nail gun as it is. This was originally designed to be a type of nail gun, as it is right here. I plan on getting it out there on the field and testing it here soon. But this hopefully this will be used as a tool more than anything else, because that at least it can have some constructive purposes to it, unlike any of the stuff that I mentioned before, the killer heat-seeking killer drones. I'd like to see how any of that is used for anything productive or constructive. So I had a bit of a guilty conscience experimenting with this, and I kind of freaked myself out because this is not a toy. This is 50 BMG level of firearms, weapons, and technology here. This is a gun right here. This is a breech for. I'll explain how this gun works, but I do believe that this weapon here is as powerful as a 50 BMG, homemade, 100% homemade parts here, and it can be assembled with. I'm working on it. This is just the prototype here. So I'm working on it, but I have the basic concept and how this works right here. So, uh, so yeah, that's just how I feel about firearms, weapons, and technology. And forgive me, Jesus, if for I know not what I do, this may turn out to be a very bad thing in the future. I hope not. I For example, I was listening to a radio show of Tim Pool, Tim Cast, and he said that he thinks that all weapons should be completely irregulated and uh, o- available for the public. And in a way, I agree. He went a little bit too far. He said he thinks that uh, he, he nuclear bombs. People should have nuclear bombs. I think that's pushing a little bit too far. I would trust myself with nuclear launch codes more than I would trust like someone like Nancy Pelosi or something. But so all right, let's get straight into the experiment here. So like I said, I think this is an important message for gun enthusiasts like myself. This is a completely functioning, very powerful, very potent homemade tool or weapon. Hopefully, you people will put this to use as a nail gun for your construction projects at home. A fence post. If this was larger, this is the size of a fence post or something. This would be a effective fence post implanter, well driller, uh, stone cracker, mining tool, similar to a jackhammer or uh, uh, nail guns and so forth. So this has the potential to be used as a tool, but it is also a very powerful weapon, and it is impossible to regulate this. This is 100% homemade parts here, except for this high pressure pump. So I'll start with that. We are pressurized at 1,000 psi with a high pressure pump here. This is the tube, a little miniature. This functions as a miniature scuba tank. Any type of high pressure container would work, but this is a small scale experiment, and just a simple tube here with a simple thread at the back and a ball valve at the front. Very simple stuff. And so this tube is pressurized up to 1,000 psi. This is the scary part right here. This is the projectile. So this is a half-inch pipe that you get from the hardware store. This is a 300 variant of stainless steel here, which should be well within the pressure ranges of I'm using with my air gun. So I'll start with the projectile here. So let's start at the tip. This is a 60 caliber. This is a 1.5 ounce, somewhere around at 1.5 ounce projectile. The projectile is a blow dart, fletching at the back here. So let's start at the front. So when this is inserted into the tube, like so, okay, like so, it is pushed all the way in. Get those fletchings in there. Insert the socket wrench. Actually, I messed up. Let me explain to you how this works first. So this is pretty simple. As you see here, 2 nuts, nylon washers, rubber valve. When it is inserted into the tube, I insert the socket wrench from the front and screw this socket wrench tight, compressing the rubber valve at the front. So the more you screw that in, the tighter it gets. You don't need to get that too tight. This is just a secondary valve to help contain pressure. It doesn't need to be like super airtight like this is right here. Okay, so that's how that works. So this is basically the airtight seal of the air gun. The back here is fletching. Never mind this. This part is designed to break off. So when this is when I release that ball valve inside the thunder mug, I call this a thunder mug, to it releases the pressure into the combustion chamber, and when it has reached I don't know the exact numbers yet, but when it has reached somewhere around 300 to 500 pounds or so, it breaks this wire or the hook here or here, and it is launched out the barrel. And this is a blow dart. It could be used with arrow fletching as well, but may as well just go with a blow dart because this is very simple, basic stuff right there. You could easily assemble this thing. And so, if you ever played with, this is technically a blow dart projectile. And if you've ever played with a blow dart before, you have the ability to be extremely accurate with a blow dart. Probably could use some extra fletching at the back for stabilization, but we're not trying to shoot targets at 1,000 yards right now. So, you have the ability to be very accurate with a blow dart without rifling. So one reason why this projectile is accurate is because when the ball valve is released, the pressure of the internal combustion is exerted at the front, pulling the projectile from the front down the barrel, stabilizing it. You get some extra stabilization with having this valve at the front. And this part is just designed to break off inside the barrel. This is a kind of delayed. So why does this work so well? And why is it important to know this? Because when this ball valve is released, within 100th of a second, the ball valve is turning and slightly opens up a gap that releases a small amount of air pressure. And then within that 100th of a second, the ball valve continues to rotate, and it has a slower release of pressure using the ball valve. With this, and why it works, is because it allows a delay of the launch of the projectile by containing the pressure until it has reached maximum pressure, putting about 500 pounds of energy directly onto this blow dart. So this is, in a sense, a highly effective, efficient, quick release blow dart gun, a cork gun. Who would have ever thought a innocent little blow dart gun could possibly be more effective and outperform 50 BMG or a lot of other military grade weapons just by using a blow dart cork gun? It's a bit crazy. So this trigger was originally invented by Archimedes 2,200 years ago. But this is different. I put in Archimedes' brake valve in backwards. I don't know what Archimedes called his brake valve, but this works the same basic concept as Archimedes' steam cannon. Is essentially Archimedes' steam cannon. So the difference is Archimedes. So I'm going to go ahead and load this pipe here. Get those fletchings packed in there. And so you could have a number of these pipes preloaded. And so I could have like 10 or more of these pipes packed, loaded, ready to go. This is essentially the bullet shell right here. And so with what Archimedes did was he had a pipe, and He put a cannonball with a ramrod and this little attachment at the front. He used a piece of wood, and it was locked, and the piece of wood stick here was locked into place by some wire. So it was locked. The projectile and ramrod and brake valve was locked into place on the Archimedes steam cannon. He would put the pipe in a fire and heat up the water at the back of the pipe. It would generate steam. And when it reached a certain pressure, the brake valve at the front would break loose, releasing the ramrod and cannonball out the barrel. So that was done 2200 BC. And I think old Archimedes there was really onto something, and it might have been a good thing that that his steam cannon was lost in history forever, because this could potentially be a bad idea. I hope not. I believe that people are responsible enough to use this sort of stuff responsibly. And I hope it is used for a tool more than anything else. Like I said, please use this for a nail gun or a fence post implanter or a stone mining tool similar to a jackhammer, please. I abhor violence, but at the same time, there's no need for violence. Knowing that the populace is armed with very powerful, potent weapons is enough to prevent tyranny. I do believe that is the only thing that is defending liberty in America today is the Second Amendment. And that's just one of the reasons why I love weaponology so much is because of science as well. And anyways, I think I've had a pretty much good rundown on how all that works. Now, what could go wrong with this? This doesn't have a safety on it. So the only safety I have is I better watch out, be careful not to touch that valve, and I'm going to shoot it into that bag of salt. That's a bag of salt, pool salt right there. That is not a weak target. That is equivalent to a brick, a solid freaking concrete bag of salt right there. Okay, that is not a weak target. So I'm just pressurized up to 1,000 psi here. Small scale experiment. If you do this at home, please do not. There's no reason why to exceed 1,000 psi with this. This is 1,000 psi is more than enough than you need to do for just about anything. So, I guess I'll go ahead and pull it off here. Pull off around. So be careful. Don't keep your hand off that ball valve. Screw that. And then 3, 2, 1. Boom. So I lost that projectile in the bag. Hopefully it didn't go out the other side. Nope. Okay. It did not go out the other side. Good. That is a bag of salt, pool salt there. That is not that projectile went down in there. I don't know where it went. So, that's a little demonstration. What I have, I'm a big gun enthusiast. I love guns. There's nothing more exciting than shooting my firework guns. If you look at my channel, I got some pretty cool, interesting firework guns. I hope it becomes a fad here soon. Very exciting. But this kind of scares me a little bit because the Constitution says, shall not be infringed. With something like this, it is 100% impossible to infringe. 100% homemade hardware store parts here. Now, that was just a small scale experiment using a very short barrel. And about 1,000 psi. Now, I don't want to give anybody any ideas. This is more than enough than I want to do for right now. I don't know how I feel about this current project because there are a lot of unknown variables about this. When I was almost ashamed of inventing this last month because for those reasons. I don't know how this is going to affect the world as I know it, because this is a very powerful weapon here. And it is impossible to regulate. This can be disassembled and indistinguishable from plumbing parts. And it blew. If I would have pressurized this up to 3,000 psi or so, I guarantee you this thing would have gone straight through that bag of salt into the garage and into my van. If I pressurize that with more than 1,000 psi, please, if you're doing this at home, stay under 1,000 psi. 300 psi is like compound bow pressures, equivalent pressures. So you could do this with PVC pipe at home using 300 psi and have a equivalent to the world's most powerful compound bow or crossbow or whatever. And so this right here is a prototype of the weapon system. Basically, have a scuba tank connected to the back of the block lock. So yeah, let me run down on how this thing works here first. This is a telescoping tube pipe gun. Breech block lock. Very simple. I haven't got around to putting the attachments for the scuba tank at the back here, but this is going to be powered by a scuba tank. And so these are the bullet shells. L-shaped bolt right here. So I call this gun the Thunderbolt Block Lock Rifle. Thunderbolt Block Lock Rifle. And so this is a very long barrel. This is a 4-foot long barrel here. So that's a very interesting thing about this weapons concept. Having a very long barrel. This is long as you could possibly use for a rifle, small arms rifle. So the barrel is pushed forward, opening the breech, like so. I don't have the cap on this. This is going to need a cap. The pipe with the projectile is inserted into the breech like so. You pull the bolt back, pushing the pipe back all the way to the back of the block lock right here. So this is just a plastic prototype for right now, but in the future, the combustion chamber is going to be completely encased in about an inch thick of material. So that's another interesting thing about this firearms concept is that the safety, the combustion chamber is completely encased in a good chunky piece of material here that is going to take a lot of force to take that out. You're going to need about 1,000 pounds of energy to move this cat. Well, this is a plastic right here. So I eventually I will have a steel case on this that is going to have this big chunk of steel on the back of it. And so, like I said, the pipe is the projectile is pushed all the way to the back of the pipe. It connects to the scuba tank. You release the pressure from the scuba tank. Boom! Take a shot. Open the breech. There's your bullet shell. Put in another bullet shell. Close the breech. Lock it. Release the air pressure. Boom. Open the breech. Oh, shoot. Slow down. Bullet shell. Get yourself another bullet shell. Put it into the breech like so. Lock it. Release the air pressure. Boom. So that is a basic rundown on concept on how that thing works here. So this is what I call the liberator theory. And the liberator was a cheap mass-produced pistol that was airdropped across Europe in hopes to arm the resistance. And so in a way, I feel I have a guilty conscience for proceeding with this because this is a very powerful weapon here that is very difficult, if not impossible, to regulate. 100% homemade hardware store parts that could possibly be equivalent to a 50 BMG bolt lock. Now, it's going to be plastic on the outside, steel on the inside, and, more safety features, the better. The more safety features that you could put in this, the better. So if you're doing something like this at home, please make sure you know what you're doing, and safety is first. Never point a weapon at anybody unless it's the last option. Fist fight somebody before you ever pull a gun on somebody, please. And do not do what I did at home. If you pressurize this thing up with more than 1,000 psi, you could possibly penetrate a concrete block, fly through the garage and into the van and keep on going and going and going. Discharge this directly into the ground because this type of projectile, the blow dart, I lost my blow dart. Let me grab another one here. Sorry, I couldn't find my other blow dart prototype. This is another blow dart prototype I was using for my other gun here. It's over there in the corner. I don't know if you see it there, but this is basically almost the same type of blow dart I was using for this project for this gun. This is a bit different. It has a hook at the back, and it was a spring powered pellet gun I made. It's on a different video, but anyways, so the ballistics of a projectile like this can be very dangerous because if you get this thing flying at significant velocities, it is going to retain its aerodynamic stability throughout its entire trajectory. And it is not when it starts going back towards the ground, it is going to continue to gain speed faster, faster, faster. So if you shoot a projectile like this at high velocities, it's going to go way up in the air, and it is not going to lose its stability. And when it comes back down to the ground, it's going to hit whatever is going to hit with tremendous force. So firing a weapon like this up in the air is a very bad idea. If you shoot this straight up in the air, it possibly could come straight down, and nothing is going to stop it. Do not shoot this thing up into the air. Discharge it into the ground. So another bad thing, what else can go wrong with this? This is quite possibly the worst self-defense weapon that you could possibly imagine. Why is it a bad self-defense weapon? Because with a self-defense weapon that, like a shotgun, for example, is perfect because it has a nearly instantaneous dispersion of its energy once it hits the target. I've played around with shotguns. I love shotguns. They're one of my favorite guns. But the thing about a shotgun, they're very powerful for self-defense. Nothing has the knockdown power of a shotgun. You don't survive it with 12 buckshot. It's a death sentence. But a shotgun has a hard time penetrating a car door or a car at all. I've fired. I used to shoot my shotgun junk cars in a junkyard with a shotgun, and a 12 gauge 3.5-inch Magnum has a hard time going through a car door. So that is what it makes it a great self-defense weapon, is because you have to worry about what is behind the target. So shotgun, get a shotgun for self-defense. Use this for a tool or a fence post and planter or something else. If you want to do this at home, be careful. Put safeties on this. Put some safety features on this. If you do this at home, do not go over 1,000 psi, and be careful what you aim it at, because this type of projectile, the projectile I use to shoot that sandbag is a lot larger and a lot heavier than this, but this has the opposite effect of a self-defense weapon, like a shotgun. This is going to penetrate whatever it hits, and it's going to continue to fly and keep on going and going and going until it completely runs out of energy. So, this is more of a long-range sniper rifle than anything else. Don't use long-range sniper rifles for personal home defense, because that I have to with a long-range sniper rifle, you have to worry about what's behind the target, and that bullet is going to require a lot of mass before it loses all of its energy and stops. So, all right. I think that's about all for today. And be careful, be safe. I plan on putting this gun to test out on the range here very soon. Going to take a bit of a road trip out there in the desert and see what this thing can do. It should be very impressive. I don't bullshit on my channel. If I say something, I do it. I know zero bullshito. This is a very powerful weapon that can be assembled from hardware store parts. It takes a little bit of engineering and know-how to put this thing together. And I am unable to know the future, but I do believe that this has the potential to end the gun control debate. So, share the video, with people with common interest, I believe that this is important message for gun rights and freedom and liberty. Okay, so I think that's about all for today. Thank you all very much. Please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Is this madness? Is this a bad idea? Give me some constructive criticism. If you want to tell me you hate my guts, fine. I'm totally fine with that too. Sometimes I wonder is, if I deserve it sometimes. So feel free to express what you think on the comments below. And I'm not easily offended. I am not offended at all. Call me a sucker. That's about the only offensive thing that I find very offensive is calling me a sucker, and that seems to be a very popular thing these days. So, um, okay, be safe, be careful. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye bye.